are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, it's like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
All right, welcome to episode 421 of the New York Knicks podcast, part of the Almighty Baller Podcast Network, N-Radio. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
I am doing fine. The basketball season is over, but the New York Mets are now 12-2.
Cool.
Yeah, they're playing unbelievable baseball, and finally I root for a team that's actually good. I don't know how long this will last, but it is pretty amazing. So Jay, I'm thinking that we should just concentrate on the Mets going forward. Forget the Knicks. Knicks suck anyway, and forget NBA. It's not working out for us. Baseball, New York Mets, it will work out for us.
Yeah, because things usually work out when you follow the Mets.
Yeah. You know what I realized? And this is I made this realization today. I fell in love with the New York Mets in 1986 when they won the World Series. And I was 7 years old. Mm-hmm. My son is turning 7 this year.
Uh-oh.
So the Mets might win the World Series this year and capture his love and torture him for the rest of his life.
Right.
Anyway, so let's just talk New York Mets. So what do you think of the bullpen, I think, in particular, has been amazing?
All right, that's about the entire knowledge of baseball I have.
So we have a bunch of segments today. We're going to go through we're going to talk a little bit about Hornacek. We have a guest on to defend him, his legacy. We're going to talk a little about the new coaching candidates, talk a little bit about other things Knicks related, go through our predictions for the playoffs that we made a while back. And we're going to debate each playoff series to try to figure out who is right about who's going to win. Basically, a definitive answer in each series, who's going to win it. So you down, Jay?
I am down. Let's do this.
Okay, you want to introduce our special guest?
Sure. We have Hornacek's lawyer, Mr. Weinstein.
Jewish lawyer.
Yeah, I
Yes.
figured with Mr. Weinstein they'd figure that out.
Yes. No, I want to make sure people don't think it's like a non-Jewish Weinstein.
Okay. And he's going to defend Hornacek's actions this season and last season. Rambis was also fired too, but we don't need defensive for that.
You can't defend that. Okay.
So,
Hi, Jay. This is Moishe Weinstein. I am here to defend Jeff Hornacek. He would have come on the show, but he's never heard of the podcast. But I am here to defend him in all arenas, and I will defend how Hornacek coached because he did a fantastic job and deserved a max deal if there is such a thing for coaches.
So
I have a statement to read from Hornacek before we start this interview.
Okay.
Dearest Jay, stop ogling my daughter. Do not look at her anymore and do not have any fancies about her. Stop it, Jay.
Okay, so I guess we just confirmed that it is okay for Mark to do so.
I have nothing here about Mark, so it must be fine with it. It must be fine about that. Okay. So anyway, pepper me with questions about how amazing Jeff Hornacek was as coach.
I don't know if I'm going to lean that way, but a lot of people are saying that he got fired because he wasn't developing the younger players. Dotson didn't really play until near the very end of the season.
Yes, Damian Dotson. We've 37 guards on this roster. It's hard to work them all in. Damian Dotson does nothing that special. He's a fine player. I'm sure at some point in his career he'll develop. We can't develop everyone. We developed Ntilikina, and that's all that matters. Did you see Ntilikina? I believe we've got him up to one drive a game to the basket.
At most, yes.
But you did not know. You did not see him in training camp when he was literally frightened of the rim.
Oh,
he would not. When he heard about basketball rim, like when he saw the basketball rim, he would like quiver in the corner. You have no idea how much Jeff Hornacek has developed him into the inspiration he is today.
I guess that's progress.
Yes,
So-
he confronts his fears at least once a game by driving to the basket.
Not enough room in the guard rotation to develop Dodson, but
There are
Jared
37.
Jack. But Jared Jack plays 30 minutes a game for the first 60 games of the season.
It was Jeff Hornacek's understanding that winning mattered, and we were given a roster full of crap, so we had to make do. Jared Jack at least didn't embarrass himself like Raymond Sessions did on the court, so we had to play him.
Winning was still a priority after Porzingis got injured?
You have a lot of questions here.
This is what happens in an interview, yes.
If you didn't notice that when Porzingis left, the entire roster was basically healthy and we couldn't win a game against the Washington Generals. There was not much on this roster. So what am I going to develop? The whole stop. Don't even think about Hornacek's daughter.
I wasn't, but okay.
Okay.
I guess we'll just move on from the Jared Jack thing.
Jared Jack is an admirable player. He got us a bunch of wins. Did you see that winning streak we had in the beginning of the season? We played very well. Nobody was going off about how bad Jared Jack was at that point.
How about the defense? It looks like the defense got worse throughout the season.
Have you seen this goddamn roster? We have Michael Beasley. He's never played defense before. We traded for Enes Kanter. He's never played defense. Most players on this team had never actually even heard of the term defense. They thought the crowd was chanting about their fence from home. He thought it was like a lawn thing going. It was a lawn repair thing that the crowd was cheering about.
So it seemed like Hornacek lost the team in the locker room.
Yeah, well, I think what Mr. Hornacek understood is at least half this roster wasn't going to be there anyway next year, so why get to know them?
You have a lot of good answers.
And furthermore, I don't know if lost the locker room. It's just a matter of like he never had trouble finding the locker room on a literal sense.
I mean, the Noah situation was a complete mess.
Yes. Jeff Hornacek really apologizes for giving him $70 million over 4 years when his career ended 2 years previously. Hornacek is really upset that he gave that contract out. He apologizes immensely.
All right. Well, thank you, Moshe. I think you answered all our questions. Pleasure having you on the show.
Anyway, so can you sign Jeff Hornacek to coach your show for $5 or $6 million a year?
If he can figure out how to get my audio back to a functioning level, then yes.
Okay. Well, we'll bye. Shalom.
All right. So that was our great interview.
So we have so there are a bunch of places. First of all, are you upset at all that Hornacek was fired?
No, I mean, it's annoying having yet another coaching change. On the other hand, I don't think the Knicks were going anywhere with him, so it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, he was not going to lead us anywhere. So the only reason to keep him was the idea of like not wanting to get another coach. But is that really a strong enough reason to keep a guy either?
No, I'm just okay. Let's get into who the Knicks are looking to bring in, because that is where
it gets interesting.
That's where it's interesting, and I get a little apprehensive.
Well, they said Perry or Mills said that part of the reason they got rid of him, they wanted someone who was going to be more accountable. Have the players be more accountable, which I thought was a good thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to say, but then they start doing things like calling Mike Woodson.
Okay, let's go through the play. I'll name the coaching candidate, and you can tell me your pluses and minuses about each guy.
Okay,
let's start with Mark Jackson.
Okay. Pluses are... Okay. Minuses,
would he even be considered if he hadn't been a New York Knick? I don't want a guy to be considered just because he was a New York Knick as a player.
Look, he got the Warriors to the playoffs, even though they became a dynasty as soon as he left with the same exact roster.
Everyone also online is when I look at message boards, everyone's like going off on him for being a homophobe, which is not a good trait in a coach. I don't know. It is nice. At least basketball's got to the point where people are like going off on him for being a homophobe. Because like 30 years ago, they'd be like, he likes gays. We shouldn't hire him for that reason.
He Posting and Toasting posted a really good article. Reasons I don't want Mark Jackson as coach. So I suggest everyone take a look at that. It's a disturbing and very lengthy list.
There was something about how he tried to cure Steph Curry using like religious
oils.
I just don't think he'd be considered for if he had not been a New York Knicks player. There'd be zero chance he'd be considered for this role. So,
I mean, I hope this is all like a dog and pony show, and they're just bringing him in to silence people who would complain if they didn't talk.
They're bringing a lot of people. So next candidate, Jeff Van Gundy, who I am very excited they have reached out to.
Jeff Van Gundy hasn't coached in a long time.
Not in a long time. Over 11 years.
Yeah, which is not great.
Is it only 11 years?
Well, I think he went to the Rockets after the Knicks.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was longer. But yeah, go on.
When he was with the Knicks, he was the best Knicks coach in my lifetime. Maybe Pat Riley, but top two.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, this is different than a guy being considered for having been a New York Knicks player. He had been a New York Knicks coach, and the Knicks had a ton of success under him. Yeah.
So, I mean, he has a proven track record. He knows the game. He loves the Knicks.
Can it be argued that part of it, like his success, was having Pat Riley before him? Like you already had first of all, you had Patrick Ewing, obviously, and having Pat Riley before, then you had a culture already built in.
Yeah, but that means he learned under somebody who is successful. So
no, I'm just saying he didn't have to come here after he came here after the Knicks were already really good. He didn't come to the Knicks on a rebuild and establish a whole culture. He came here, when he got the job was just let's continue what Pat Riley was doing.
Right, but he kept them good through a ton of turnover. I mean, the 94 championship team had two guys that made it to the 99 championship team.
Good point. It also helped though. You had the best player was here the whole time, Patrick Ewing, and Patrick Ewing was buying into what they were doing. So guys coming there would buy into what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Whoever comes in now has to get KP to buy into what they're doing, and obviously everyone else as well. But sure. Do you think Van Gundy commands so much respect among today's players that guys will immediately want to embrace whatever he's doing?
I think in New York he can. I think he's got a huge rep for what he did with the Knicks. I don't know if he'd have that rep if he went to the Thunder or something, but I think in New York he's got clout.
Okay. What about the fact that he hasn't coached in 11 years?
Yeah, that's the minus. He coached basically in a different era. So I know he's still watching every game and commenting on every game. But,
yeah, he's watching every game obviously he's a commenter. He watches. He's an analyst for the games, so he's covering the game very closely. He knows obviously the game is different than the previous. It's not like a Phil Jackson where he kind of removed himself from the NBA. This guy's he's next to the NBA basically. He's working with the NBA this whole time. So in theory, what he's going to do is going to be for today's game. He knows the game is different.
I would put, speaking of commenting, I would make that a plus for Mark Jackson, because if he coached the Knicks, then we wouldn't have to listen to him during the games, because I think he's a terrible commenter too.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna get rid of any if with that theory, I want to hire Reggie Miller to be the Knicks coach, so I never have to hear him do another Knicks game.
Yeah, Miller's really bad too.
Okay, so anything else you want to say about Jeff Van Gundy?
No.
Okay, next coach, Mike Woodson, who I'm only a fan of having because we can get that guy back on the show who did a great impression.
Yeah. There is that. There is the fact that he had the only successful Knicks season since 2001.
Yeah. He made the playoffs twice. 3 times?
3 times.
Yeah.
He won playoff games twice.
Yeah.
He looked like he didn't really know what he was doing that last year. He was with the Knicks, and he didn't get a head coaching job since he left the Knicks.
I mean, this just seems insane to have to hire him.
Yeah.
Like we didn't even last year that long. It wasn't like we had this amazing success. We had. I mean, compared to what we.
The fact that
happened
they're
since.
talking to him makes me think that Perry and Mills have no idea what they're doing.
I mean, maybe they just want to talk to everyone who seems like a relevant candidate.
Yeah, which would not include him.
Yeah, I don't really understand talking. And like Woodson, it's not like he was known for having some amazing defensive or offensive system. The offense was very heavy iso mellow when he was here. So, I mean, he's been studying under Doc Rivers in LA for the last couple of years. So that's probably a positive. But I'd be very concerned if that was the hire. Next coach, Jerry Stackhouse.
Stackhouse has had a ton of success in the G League.
Which is that like a huge thing? That's like I've had a lot of success having sex with fat girls. Like is that big of a deal to?
I mean, there's 30 teams, and he was one of the best. So, and it's the next step down from the NBA.
There are not 30 G League teams.
There's a lot of teams.
There's definitely not 30 G League teams.
Okay.
I'm going to look this up as you talk. Go on.
I'm saying he's a successful coach. The players seem to like him.
26. Holy shit! I can't believe there's 26 G League teams.
Yeah. So,
okay, go.
You know, he's done really well there. I'd rather somebody new than going after a retread that didn't work out for somebody else or who didn't work out for us.
But I don't understand that argument of like, what's going to make you a good coach? One of the things that's going to make you a good coach is having a lot of experience.
Well,
like,
he has experience. It's not in the NBA, but it's still...
No. Just forgetting the whole retread thing. A lot of guys you can be bad in one job and good in the next job because you learn from the past job.
Yeah.
Most people are better at their job when they have more experience. The problem with Jerry Stackhouse, and the idea is that this guy's had zero experience as an actual NBA head coach. He coached in the G League, had assistant coaching jobs in the NBA, but for him being the guy, he's had zero experience.
So what?
So usually less experience leads to worse results.
That's like saying, oh, there's a really good AAA baseball player. Let's not call him up to the majors because he's never played before and he doesn't have experience.
Well, I'm just saying you shouldn't say a guy should get a job because he has having no experience doesn't make him a better candidate.
But he doesn't have no experience. He has no NBA head coach experience,
yes,
but he has coaching experience.
He has no experience in the actual job. He has very related experience, and that's very good. And that's obviously this is much better than like a Jason Kidd who goes from player to coach right away. This is how it should be done. You get a lot of experience, and then you become a coach. Totally, and I'm not saying anything about Jerry Stackhouse. He could be a fine coach for the Knicks. I just don't see why you say you should hold against other guys for having NBA. Like a Fitzdale, you'll say, well, he has NBA coaching experience. I'm going to call him a retread and hold it against him.
Only if they were failed.
But Fitzdale failed. He got fired from Marc Gasol forced him out.
Yeah, but I think he did a good job. Okay.
I'm just saying a lot of guys could end up having you never know. Hornacek could get a job elsewhere, which he probably won't, and be a really good coach elsewhere. People learn from their coaching experience.
Some do. I don't think Mike Brown ever learned.
Yeah. Do we have a call?
We do have a call. Do you want to do Fizdale real quick?
Yeah. Oh, well, do you want to finish Stackhouse? Anything else you want to say about Stackhouse? I think Stackhouse supposedly is a big time. People laud him for being like a very, very. People think he's a bright guy. I don't know. A good NBA mind. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add about him?
I mean, I would just say that this is a perfect situation for him because the team has no expectations next year. So he can try coaching his way, and it doesn't really matter. There's no expectations.
I mean, he was assistant coach in the 2015 Raptors team. He then became the G League coach. He was G League or D League coach of the year in 2017. You know who also might be a G League coach of the year? Mike Miller, Westchester. He probably will be G League coach of the year this year.
Mm-hmm.
So why not Mike Miller?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's do our call and come back to this.
Okay, we're joined by Leon. How you doing, Leon?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. So tell us, how'd you become a Knicks fan?
Um, I guess you could say I was born into being a Knicks fan. I was actually born in Brooklyn, and that's all I saw. I bleed blue and orange.
Excellent. So what year did you start?
I would say about 91, 92.
Okay, so you got in for the
During
good
the glory
times.
years. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah. That's about when
Yeah,
I
so
started watching
definitely
too.
fond memories. Yeah.
Good old Oak and Mace. Um,
Oak, May, Starks, Ewing, the whole crew there, all the way through the 90s, and then it kind of fell off the cliff from there. But I'm still hanging in there.
well, on to more depressing topics this season. Just wrapping up. How do you feel about Hornacek getting fired?
Um, I feel it's a good thing. Of course, I don't like anybody losing their job, but I feel like we can get a coach in there who is better with rotations, developing young players. The way he was using KP looked a lot like how Carmelo was being used, and
Mm-hmm.
we want to get away from that. Defensive philosophy, I didn't really see one. And I mean, with him, it was just, for me, it was going back to last season where the way he dealt with that Phil situation, and he didn't really stand up for what he has, and this team has not developed an identity in these 2 years. So I felt it was the right move.
That's a fair assessment. So right now, the Knicks are rumored to be talking to Mike Woodson, David Blatt, David Fizdale, Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy. Any of these guys do anything for you?
Um, Jeff Van Gundy will always do something for me because, like we mentioned at the outset, that I'm remembering those days when we were actually pretty good with Van Gundy. But I think that's a far-fetched thing. I don't think he's going to come back. Nobody else is really doing it for me from that group.
Oh, and Jerry Stackhouse.
That one is a little intriguing because I believe he's a younger coach, maybe a little more forward thinking than the other retreads.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them are wowing me. I mean, I heard the name Messina from San Antonio. That kind of coach is what I would be looking for. An analytics driven coach, defensive minded driven coach. That's what I want. Plus, Mark Jackson, the stuff I heard that happened in Golden State, and why did they get rid of Fizdale after 1 year? Blatt and that whole Cleveland situation. The last thing we need is drama, and I just want a boring old rebuild.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I kind of like the Messina idea you brought up. We didn't even mention that. The Spurs have such a good organization. Anybody who is within like 3 steps of San Antonio, I'm willing to give a shot to.
Yeah, same here. Those guys in San Antonio, especially, look at how they develop young guys. Murray and even Kawhi Leonard, and they bring guys up, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm thinking we're not going to get free agent splash because ever since I've been a Knicks fan, and even beyond that, we haven't gotten that big name free agent to actually come on board. So maybe the guy who's going to make a breakout season is already somebody who's on the roster, but we need the right kind of coaching, not just the head coach, but the assistant coaches that could bring that guy up, like somebody who can transform like Oladipo did this year for the Pacers, who had a big game today.
Oh, man, if we could get somebody to make a leap like Oladipo did, that guy's looking like the real deal.
Yes, exactly.
Who are you rooting for? Anybody else in the playoffs? You have any side piece team?
Side piece team. Yeah, I'm a huge basketball fan, so I mean, I really enjoy just watching the game. I'm into what Philly's doing. I actually live in the DC area, so I kind of have an eye on the Wizards and what they're doing with Toronto in that series.
Mm-hmm.
But I do share a hatred for Houston like you do, so I would love to see nothing more than them to get bounced out as soon as possible.
Agreed. As we speak, they're up by 11 already, like 2 minutes into the
Right.
game.
Well, well, maybe not in this round.
Yeah. So what's
Future round?
what's your opinion on tanking or just trying to get as many wins as possible to build a culture?
Oh, that's a great question, because my attitude changes on it from game to game. I guess it's just my coping mechanism with the Knicks. When you expect them to lose and you wrap your head around tanking, they don't do it. Then they start winning, and you say, well, I guess you don't want them to tank, but the only way to really get good quick is to get the best player in the draft. I mean, Philly is the perfect example of that. And as much as I don't like to watch the Knicks lose, I'll go through the little suffering like Philly did for the turnout that they're having now.
Oh my God, Philly looks
so I guess that's a long
good.
way of saying, yeah, that's a long way of saying, I guess I do support tanking in some sense of it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we just need that one more player. It's Frank could end up being really good. Even if Frank makes a leap, you got Frank Porzingis and a bunch of other players that might be decent, but nobody's going to be like that one piece that we need to put us over the top.
Right. And like I mentioned earlier, that's my hope that guy, that we may have him on the roster, but chances are we don't. And the only way to get that guy is to get him through the draft. And I always think of it like this. I wonder how good our team would be if maybe KP wasn't our best player, but maybe our second best player.
Mm-hmm.
How good a team we would be. And the only way to really get that guy would be through the draft. So, and maybe at the pick we have, we could find the next steal in the draft. I don't know, but if you're not picking 1, 2, or 3, it's your chances to find that guy really decrease.
Yeah. So the Cantor looks like he may opt out of his contract. Is he insane?
He's insane, but I'm in support of it because, I mean, I know if you look at his counting stats, it looks pretty good, but I just don't think he's good for the kind of team that Scott Perry and Steve Mills came out in their statements earlier this week mentioning the kind of team that they want on the floor. He's a Ole on defense, and I can't take no defense anymore. I really want this team to form an identity around defense, and he doesn't fit that.
Does it worry you that he might opt out because he's confident that the Knicks will give him a long-term deal?
That worries me. Yes, that worries me. That worries me. I mean, if they are thinking about that, someone needs to just scream the Joakim Noah contract and how a bad contract can just really hamper you from moving forward.
Is there any deal that you would like for Cantor? Like, would $10 million do it for you?
I guess no. I don't. Like I said, I'm looking for a team that guys, either you can shoot a 3 or you're athletic, to get to the basket, finish, block shots. I'm looking for a real dynamic team with explosive players, whether, like I said, it's from the outside or players who can dominate the paint with being able to dive on pick and rolls, block shots, dunk the ball, and things like that. The way the good teams look today.
Yeah.
Because when you watch us and you watch the other teams, what the product we're putting out there looks completely opposite from what the good teams are doing.
Yeah, pretty much. So we have Noah for 2 more years. What would you do with him? I'm tempted to just let the 2 years just ride out with him. Just keep him away from the team like we're doing now, and just
because I honestly think this organization is going in a better direction, just based on what I hear from the management, but not 100% confident in it. But if they just let Noah's contract ride out, we can get these young guys better, and in 2 more years we'll actually be ready to go. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have some young players, probably another draft pick or two, and then a bunch of cap space. As long as
right, I think they can do other things to They can do other things to free up cap space. I mean, even if Canner does opt in, letting that 1 year ride out, finding a way to get rid of Lee's contract, to free up a little cap space in case they want to take a flyer on another young player. They just need to be thinking about talent acquisition of young players, seeing who pans out. I mean, they did it with Moutier. He didn't pan out, but maybe it could be with another guy that, hey, we found a diamond in the rough kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our time's almost up. What are your expectations for Frank for next year?
I've been hearing, like with you guys and others, saying 12 to 15 points. Steady growth on defense, getting stronger. I don't know if he's a pure point guard. Have some questions about that, but he is the second youngest player in the NBA right now. So I'd like to see him develop a little bit more, and one of these new coaches to work with him. And I'm thinking that 12 to 15 point range and about 5 assists, couple steals, playing about 24 minutes a night. And I'll be satisfied with that level of growth coming from him.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy with that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Do you have any Twitter or anything you want to plug?
I don't have a Twitter or anything, but if you don't mind, I am going to be kicking off my own pod soon. I'm getting it started. Me and a couple of my buddies that live down here. It's going to be called the 9450 podcast, The Dimensions of the Basketball Court.
Nice.
And we'll be talking about all things basketball. So anybody look out for that. That's coming soon.
Cool. Let us know when it gets started. We'll mention it again.
Okay. And lastly, just want to shout out my wife and my daughter, Alethea and Giselle, on the pod.
All
Thanks.
right.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's a pleasure.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.
You too. Bye. Another good call.
Yep, another good call.
You were quiet on that one.
Yeah, it's like I wasn't on the call.
It's almost like Skype wouldn't let you in on the call.
It's like I didn't even hear the call because I have to go back and listen now because I'm not able to even do that with the advances in Skype.
Thank you, Skype. Great.
Thank you, Skype. We endorse Skype if you don't want to be able to have a functioning podcast. So we were talking about Fitzdale. We got to Fitzdale. I didn't want to say that Jerry Stackhouse wouldn't be a good coach. I kind of just hate when everyone calls they're like, we shouldn't have any retreads or guys that had experience. Like, I think having experience is great, but a guy that maybe has a fresh mind and maybe has related experience could be very helpful also. I don't know. But I'm not also convinced that 1 year being the coach of the year in the G League is the reason to make you a coach either. He doesn't have tons and tons of experience. He has a couple of years of experience.
Yeah.
I mean, we went with Fisher, who had no experience, Hornacek, who had very little experience. I'm wondering maybe it would be better to have a coach who's just a little more experienced.
Well, our call Leon brought up Messina, who's an assistant coach on the Spurs.
If you're on the Spurs, we should just instead of doing an interview, we should just hand you an offer.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of Van Gundy getting the job. But we already covered him, but this next guy I'd be a fan of also. Fitzdale has a ton of coaching experience. He was an assistant in college for a number of years in San Diego and Fresno State. He was a Golden State assistant for a year, then the Hawks for 4 years, then 8 years as an assistant on the Heat, and then spent a year or so on the Grizzlies as a coach before being fired. He's supposed to be a big-time advanced analytics guy. People talk about him being one of those basically kind of like a genius type mind for coaching or about the game basically. But he only had a short stint in Memphis and it didn't last. He didn't last. But he
Right.
could be a guy that could translate. Apparently, he wanted to go more of a up-tempo style game, and Marc Gasol kind of basically him and Marc Gasol did not get along because Marc Gasol did not want to basically want his he wanted to do his up-tempo style. They disagreed. Basically, I think it became Gasol or Fitzdale, and they went with Gasol, understandably. But what do you have to say about Fitzdale?
I mean, he's really passionate. His players seem to love him, except Marc Gasol.
Well, he got fired because his star player did not love him. That's a
right.
big deal.
But everyone else seemed to really like him.
Yeah, players that have where he's been the assistant have all loved him. That's why he got the head coaching job in the first place. He has a ton of experience, but I do like that. Even as assistant coach, he's a ton more experience than Jarek Stackhouse does. Not that it necessarily matters, but I don't know. I think he'd be one of the strong candidates in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely near the top of my list.
Jay Wright. Do you know who Jay Wright is, Jay?
I don't.
Oh, God. He's the coach of the Villanova. He just won the NCAA championship. People consider him a great college coach. And the Knicks have already reached out to him. And he would have to be – the reason I would not hire him is because if he's insane enough to leave the situation he has right now, then the Knicks shouldn't hire him because he's obviously an insane person. What do you think about getting a star coach from college?
I mean, it worked for the Jazz and the Celtics.
Yeah, no. The Knicks have to – I mean, if you win he's a star at Villanova. And you have, in the NBA, he could be fired the following year by the Knicks and it could be a disaster. In Villanova, he'll be able to recruit better players because they're a very good team. I just feel like leaving a great situation in college is just stupid. Unless the Knicks overpay him by, an insane amount of money. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. He's probably going to get, a 500% raise.
I mean, I think he makes somewhere between $3 and $4 million a year, which is pretty darn good also. He probably gets endorsements. The Knicks give you, a $12 million deal, but you're going to coach for a year or two and then be, your career screwed.
Yeah.
I guess you can go back. You have to remake your career back in college. I think Wright would be insane to leave for the Knicks. Villanova, he's going to have star players. The Knicks, he's going to have chaos. I like the idea, but I'm taking a star college coach.
Yeah.
I have another one for you. He has not gotten the interview yet, but he's introduced the idea that he'd like to be the Knicks coach on Twitter. Meta World Peace, or Ron Artest, for people that know him by a different name, or whatever that. I don't know what the hell his name is actually now, but Ron Artest. What do you think?
I think why is the search still going on?
What do you mean?
As soon as Meta said he wanted to coach, that should have been okay, well, now you're hired.
The Knicks should have just liked his retweet with the message, or retweeted it. You got the job.
Yeah.
I have to say, it'd be nice to finally have a coach that the chaos, just as chaotic as what's going on with the Knicks.
I am all in on Coach Meta.
Yeah, I just saw that on Twitter while you were doing the interview. I'm down. Let's just do this. Is there anyone else I've left off that matters?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah. In other Knicks news, I think you said you covered it in your call, but Enes Kanter reportedly will opt out. Does he get a charity reduction? Some kind of charity, right off on his taxes?
I feel like he's doing this because he's really confident that he's going to get a long deal.
From the Knicks?
Probably, because he keeps saying he wants to be on the Knicks, so I don't see why he would opt out unless he thinks they're going to re-sign him.
Either he has balls of steel, has not talked to the Knicks about this at all, and just assumes the Knicks will re-sign him, or the Knicks have said, wink, wink, opt out, we'll get you for a 4-year deal.
Right.
Where the Knicks are like, you know what, we're paying him $18 million next year. What if we pay him $36 million over 3 years? We're the geniuses.
Yeah. Discount.
Yes, which would immediately become the second worst contract on the Knicks, no matter how much they sign him for. They should not. I am adamant the Knicks should say bye when he tells them he's opted out. Yeah. Say, good luck, we've loved having you here. Try not playing defense elsewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm all set with that. I'm trying to think if there's a price that I would talk myself into being okay with it.
No, there's no price. I mean, I think if the Knicks, In a different situation, I'd be very happy to have Enes Kanter coming off the bench. I think he obviously is a very efficient scorer. He's great around the rim. He's a fantastic offensive rebounder. He has a lot of strong qualities. If he's playing 20 minutes a game for you off the bench and you're a good team and you want scoring off the bench, like maybe that would be a good situation. Like he obviously was helpful in some ways in Oklahoma when he was there.
I mean, if he got half of what he's getting now, I'd be okay with it.
$9 million a year?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's nice doing a show with you, Jay. I think we're done with the show now. Just like a general, I mean, like if you're fine with paying Enes Kanter $9 million a year and having him back in the Knicks, then I think we could just call it the end of the show.
I mean, it's scoring and rebounding off the bench for not a bad price.
Yeah, but first off, he's not going to be off the bench. He's our starter if we sign him. He's 100% our starter. He's going to be the center next to KP for the next 4 or 5 years. Is that what you want? And it's basically being I love the offense. He's basically a negative on the court. Plays no. He is exhibit A of no defense. If you want a defensive culture, then the worst move you can make is go, I'm going to reward the guy who played no defense this whole last year.
Well, when you put it like that,
it's just like saying the Knicks. Us preaching defense is a joke. If we're going to re-sign Enes Kanter.
Yeah. But I mean, somebody's got to put up points as well.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just try getting guys to play defense and see how it works out. Instead of just saying always, well, we need guys to put up points. We'll have to sacrifice defense again this year.
No, I mean, I'd much rather like 3-and-D players.
Well, what you're gonna bring back Beasley too? Why don't you bring back Beasley and Enes Kanter and see if we can outscore? Like we've had them, it was a disaster. Like what happened? KP went down, and we had those guys in the court, and it was horrible. It wasn't like the Knicks played through Enes Kanter and won a bunch of games. They were without dumb KP when we had Kanter and Beasley on the court. The team was horrible.
Can't really argue with that.
Yeah, we've seen them play for a long stretch of games on this team. Either one of them has not helped us win crap. We were trying to win games. We had Kanter. There are a lot of good. He's a very good player in many respects, but on defense he's horrible. It's not working out for us.
Yeah.
Stop doing the same things over and over again. Stop just saying, "Hey, we need points." Well, he already has a uniform with his name on it. We might as well just sign him. Spend the money elsewhere. Is the best use of our money putting all the? If anything, try to get Kyle O'Quinn. Who would you rather have, Kyle O'Quinn or Kanter?
O'Quinn.
Okay, so then sign O'Quinn instead, because O'Quinn's going to opt out as well. Bring O'Quinn back.
What about O'Quinn for $9 million?
I'd probably choke on my own vomit. Also, I don't think either one's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
You probably could get O'Quinn for less.
Mm-hmm.
If you got him for whatever. I feel like let's invest in other positions. Get a small forward here.
No, I want 90% of the cap going to the 4 or 5.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much the Knicks are going to do. I just think we didn't even have a real small forward last year. Let's get a small forward. Let's put less into the center position and just see how it works out. I mean, bring back Kyle O'Quinn, I guess. I don't think either one is the guy to build next to KP for the next 4 or 5. I don't think either one's going to lead us anywhere. But Kyle O'Quinn, I can at least see the Knicks bring Kyle O'Quinn on a reasonable contract, and you can get someone else that could be a starter later on or develop someone else. I think if you bring back Kanter, the Knicks are just going to say the center position is solved, which scares me even more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the playoff preview. Anything else you want to talk about?
No.
So we're going to do for our playoff preview, instead of just saying each series, instead of just saying who's going to win the series, we're going to debate. I'm going to take all the underdogs. Jay's going to take all the favorites. We're going to take 2 minutes per series, and on each debate, 2 or 3 minutes. You want to take 3 minutes? There are 8 series, 3 minutes. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, 3 minutes, and I'm going to destroy Jay on every series and tell him why all the underdogs are going to sweep this shit. Because it's going to be underdog season, and Jay is going to be wrong, whichever argument he says.
All right.
What series you want to start off with, Jay?
Let's go the one that's on right now, Rockets Timberwolves.
Okay, and go. The Rockets got the Timberwolves have Jimmy Butler back, and it's going to be 7 games. But the Minnesota, we have Thibodeau, who is a genius on defense, even though he hasn't shown it at all in Minnesota. Houston has a boring attack. Lots of threes. James Harden does his bull crap. He can be figured out in the playoffs, and Thibodeau's going to figure it out. They're going to shut him down.
They have the league MVP. They have the best, one of the best point guards in the whole league, who is going to destroy Jeff Teague. They have crazy three-point shooting. They have Clint Capella, who is starting to look really good, and Towns is kind of bad on defense. Wiggins is terrible on defense. You can't even defend that one. Wiggins is a train wreck on defense.
Wiggins would look very good next to Enes Kanter on defense. They're going to change their strategy. Going to go to Karl Anthony Towns. Go to Towns. Keep feeding the ball to Towns. He will be awesome. Houston cannot stop his post game. Plus, Jimmy Butler is a hell of a player. He may not be league MVP, but Minnesota, when they had Butler healthy, they were one of the better teams in the West, and they're going to take out Houston. 7 games, guaranteed, Houston loses. It's going to be a huge upset. The biggest upset since Golden State beat Dallas.
Are we doing our real picks too, or are we just going to do this bit for...
This is our playoff prediction. You can give your real pick. I'm giving my real prediction is Minnesota in 7 games.
But I know you don't believe that in your heart.
I believe that, Jay.
Okay.
What's your prediction, Jay? We have a minute 10 to go, Jay. If you want to fill in, come on. You're going to get your ass destroyed by Karl Anthony Towns. Wiggins is an explosive offensive player. Butler's hard. You cannot guard Butler. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Jay?
Score a crap ton of points and enjoy a quick 5-game series.
I haven't checked the box score, but I'm assuming the games are all very close. Tonight's game is very close, and Butler or Towns will hit the last second shot to beat Houston. Tonight's
game is very close.
What's the score?
27-21.
Okay, there you go. I'm looking. Yeah. So Rockets are barely up. Minnesota's going to stick around most games, and then when things get tough, Houston's not going to have an answer. Houston is very vulnerable in the playoffs. If you notice, didn't they lose to San Antonio last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not the only difference is they added Chris Paul. Chris Paul is great, but Chris Paul, you know what he does in the playoffs? He stinks in the playoffs. James Harden, he stinks in the playoffs. 3 minutes, you lose. Okay, what was your prediction for that series?
Rockets in 5.
Okay, so I have Minnesota in 7. Next series.
Next is...
And if you want to look back, these are my predictions, Jay. If you want to look back later on and find out that I was right about every series, that's fine.
Warriors Spurs.
And go. The Warriors have looked like shit lately. They should have the best record in the NBA, but they don't because they've been playing like crap. They've been losing to everyone. Is Curry back yet? I don't think Curry's back yet.
He's not coming back till round 2.
Yeah, so your best player's not even back to round 2. Durant, whatever. Golden State looks a lot weaker this year than they looked last year. Spurs, Popovich is a goddamn genius. He will figure out, even without Kawhi, he doesn't even need Kawhi Leonard. He told Kawhi Leonard, if I knew where you were, I would not invite you to the game. So they don't even need Kawhi Leonard. They're not even inviting him to the series, even though he's probably healthy. So the Spurs are going to beat Golden State in 6.
I'm having a hard time taking this bit seriously.
Why? Jay, we have a minute, 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Come on, Jay. Why is Golden State going to win this series?
Because, first of all, we got to figure out what the hell is going on with Kawhi. The Spurs have no chance without him, and apparently he's healthy and he's just not showing up. This has got to be the weirdest story we've heard of in years.
I think Kawhi's people said they'll let the Spurs know if Kawhi feels like playing in the playoffs.
Who are these people?
So that makes sense.
How does he have people that override the actual team? This is so weird.
Kawhi is so confident the Spurs will beat Golden State that he said, I don't need to show up. Steph Curry's not playing in the series. I'm not going to play in the series either.
Because it'll be too easy.
It'd be too easy.
Mhm.
The Spurs have won. The Spurs are the most dominant team in the NBA the last 30 years or 20 years or whatever it is. They're winning. Pop is going to like do some mind trick Jedi crap, and Golden State's going to lose the series, and it's going to be a gigantic upset. It's going to be the biggest upset since the Timberwolves beat the Rockets. We got a minute 10 to go, Jay. Come on.
I mean,
What's your prediction? What's your prediction for the series?
I'm going Warriors in 5.
Okay.
I think this. I mean, the Spurs, like, yeah, they got Aldridge and Murray, and they got some good players, but they're so outmatched in this series. It's like,
Yeah, that's what they want you to think. So Golden State will take them lightly. Like the Golden State's been taking the last 20 games of the season very lightly. That's why they've been losing a lot. Have you noticed that Golden State's fallen apart the last like 2 weeks of the season or the last month and a half of the season?
have you noticed that they absolutely destroyed the Spurs in Game 1?
I'm not going to take like facts into account in my analysis.
Yeah, I figured not.
That was, I mean, like, yeah, that's why I said it's going to be a 6-game series. I said Golden State's going to win 2 games, and they've won 1 game already.
This series is over. But unless
Okay,
Kawhi,
yeah,
unless Kawhi just shows up, which why is he not showing up?
I hope that it's like Game 7, fourth quarter, 2 minutes to go, and then like a cloud of smoke appears, and cloud of smoke happens, and Kawhi appears out of the cloud of smoke with like a Batman costume.
He comes down from the ceiling like the Nets Brooklynite crap that they tried a few years ago.
Yeah, something like that. So I think I was right in this series. I take Golden State in 6. I mean, not Golden State. I take Spurs in 6. Next. Okay, next series, Jay. Let's finish the West and we'll go to the East.
Yeah. So next series is Portland Pelicans.
Okay. I'm Pelicans are the underdog, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We have the best player in the series, so hands down, we're going to win the series. And we've already won 1 game. What are they going to do about Anthony Davis? Nothing. No one can guard him.
Well, nobody can guard the backcourt of the Trailblazers.
Yeah, you know what? They did, and they won the first game. Both
I know.
Lillard didn't have a great game, and
McCollum?
McCollum didn't have a great game. Yeah, we got Mirotic, who's playing great. Thank God. Like they're so happy that he got into that fight with
Portis.
Thank you for you complete my sentences, Jay. Plus they got Holiday there. They got a good team.
Rondo?
Was Rondo playing a lot in the series? Yeah, of course he's playing a lot, right? He's starting, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. You got Rondo. You got playoff. Rondo's won a title. You got playoff experience. Portland is going nowhere. They are just a team for the regular season to like. They put up some numbers. They look good, and they always like fall apart in the playoffs. I can't believe the best thing that happened to the Pelicans was losing DeMarcus Cousins. They played better when Cousins went down.
They really did. I wasn't expecting Drew Holiday to stay healthy either.
Yeah, we were talking about the whole offseason how the Knicks shouldn't sign him because he's going to be injured, and like he was healthy the whole year.
It turns out he's one of the better defensive point guards too, which I also didn't realize.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew he was pretty good defensive. I'm going to say the Pelicans in 6. It'll be a good series. And you're actually going to agree with me, right, Jay?
I am, but you could tell I wasn't really on board with the Trailblazers.
We have a minute to go in this and your defense is you've waved the white flag.
Yeah, no,
You're horrible at debating, Jay.
I don't believe the Trailblazers are going to win this series.
Well, because they're not, because you've been won over by my fantastic arguments about Anthony Davis being unstoppable.
Well, I mean, they also have like Nurkic trying to defend Anthony Davis. Like Nurkic isn't good defending a normal human being. Like Davis isn't working out.
Portland's still trying to figure out why Denver gave him away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Portland, apparently their defense has looked better this season, like as of late. Yeah, so we'll cut this one short at 2 minutes and 37 seconds, and Jay lost his argument. Okay, you're down 0-3 on this set, Jay. Okay, next series.
Next series is Thunder Jazz.
Ooh, this is a good one. God damn it, I have to defend Carmelo Anthony. We have Carmelo Anthony, the greatest player ever. He's a Knick. I'm going to say Oklahoma. I can't say they're in 4. They won today, right?
They
OKC?
did. They won by
So
8.
I'm going to say OKC in 4 games.
I'm going to say Jazz in 7. They have the best defender in the league, Gobert.
Yeah, no, well, here's the thing. You got Gobert. He gets injured every other week, so he'll probably be injured in the series. And you have a rookie. Your best player is a rookie, Donovan Mitchell. Rookies falter in the playoffs. I have no faith in a rookie.
They also have Rubio to pick up the slack.
Oh, Rubio. So can he shoot yet? Or
Yeah.
has he not?
His shot's better this year.
Okay. Well, you're still going to lose. We have Westbrook. Westbrook's a triple-double machine. He's going to average a triple-double in the playoffs, too. Guys are going to move out of his way so he can get his rebounds and assists.
I mean, he probably will get a triple-double in the playoffs, but...
He last year in the playoffs, I think, what was it, in the Golden State series, he played like 42 minutes in one of the games, was like a +4, and then like the 6 minutes he was on the court, the team like crumbled.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Westbrook will play at least 40 minutes a game. I'm sure he played 40 minutes tonight. What did he play tonight?
Tonight he played 37.
Okay. I think most games, especially if the game is closer, they're down, he'll play 40 minutes. Paul George is really good. Oklahoma, no question, they will beat Utah. Utah, everyone's picking them as like, they got the rookie, they got the defensive, they got all these good things going for them, and they're also going to lose in 5 games to OKC.
The Thunder are playing Raymond Felton.
Okay, sorry. I'm gonna Utah in 4. They're probably gonna. I guess they won. Utah in 5. Never mind. Yeah, that's how confident the Thunder are. They're gonna put Felton out there because they're so confident they're gonna win the game. Look, we're not only going to beat you, we're going to beat you playing Raymond Felton. Ha!
Although I guess I can't say anything because the Jazz played Royce O'Neal 20 minutes.
Okay, so who are you taking in the series? You're gonna
Jazz in 7.
Jazz in 7. Wow, man, that's 4 series in a row you're wrong about. Okay, let's go to the. We're not going to take the full 3 minutes. Go to the next series. We're banking some of this time.
Raptors Wizards.
Okay, John Wall, best players in the series. Done.
It's the best bench in the league versus the worst bench in the league.
You know what's really important in the playoffs? The bench players that no one's ever heard of. That's what teams win the title because they have the bench. They have the best bench in the playoffs. The bench makes in the playoffs. Everyone plays longer minutes. The bench matters less. That's the biggest thing Toronto has going for them is the bench.
It matters less, but it doesn't not matter.
That is a true statement and that's your big statement.
Well, you're making like, whatever, the bench means nothing. The bench guys are still going to play a good amount of minutes, and if they're terrible...
Name 3 bench guys on your team that you're defending.
Bench guys on what?
On the Raptors. Name 3 guys on the bench.
There's the tall center guy.
That's not actually his given birth name.
Oh, it's not?
No.
You got...
Exactly. You never heard of them. You don't even know if they're good.
Yeah, you got Wright. DeLon Wright.
Sure.
CJ Miles.
Anyway, John Wall will step it up for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I know they lost today. They lost yesterday, right?
Yeah, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, I'm going to say this is going to be a tough one. I'm going to say Washington in 7 games. This is going to be a huge play. This is going to be the biggest upset since the Timberwolves beat the Rockets. Definitely, I'm going to say would it be a huge upset if Washington wins? Washington's got a lot of talent. They got Beal. They got a lot of talent in this team.
They have talent, but I don't know. They're
1 through 5. Is it that much of a difference in talent? Wall is probably better than at least Wall and Lowry are probably even if Wall not having the slight edge.
Mm-hmm.
You got Bradley Beal versus DeRozan. DeRozan has an edge, but like Beal's pretty darn good. Otto Porter versus I don't know. Who else plays in Toronto?
Ibaka.
Ibaka. Yeah, like the starting five for Washington is very comparable, if not as good as Toronto's starting five. They should win some of these games. I don't care if they've had a miserable season. Toronto always folds in the playoffs. Your benches matter less in the playoffs.
I'm going Raptors in 6.
Okay, Washington in 7. Okay, next.
Next, you have the Celtics and the Bucks.
Okay, I know the Bucks lost the first game, but
Overtime, though.
yes, overtime, and everyone is injured on your team. You lost Hayward obviously for the season. Kyrie's out for the season now. Someone else. Who's the next guy who's going to be injured on the team? You know Horford's going to be injured soon also.
Smart's out.
Is Smart out too?
Yeah.
Wow. Boston is going to lose this series. Milwaukee, they have the best. They have the best guy on the court. No one in Boston currently playing is better than Greek Freak. Tatum's not going to lead them to like the promised land.
Yeah, the rest of the Bucks roster is pretty garbage.
No, Bledsoe is a pretty good player. Bledsoe is not garbage.
Bledsoe's not garbage, but that's about the end of the list.
Yeah, but that's in the playoffs. You have two guys that have big games. It could lead you. Middleton's not garbage. He's not like amazing. Middleton's not bad.
I mean, it's not like the Celtics don't have anybody. They still got Al Horford.
Yeah, they got Al Horford, who's really good, no question. But they've lost. This is not the same thing as having the Kyrie Irving on this team.
No, it's not. It's just the Bucks are not very good.
I'm just saying, if the Celtics played the whole season without Kyrie Irving, their record wouldn't be. I mean, probably still be better than Milwaukee's record. But it wouldn't be like they would not be where they are in the seed wise. They'd probably be a little bit better than Milwaukee.
Yeah. I mean, this series is like who's going to lose in the next round.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Milwaukee wins this in 7 games. Yeah. And what are you saying?
I'm saying Celtics in 6. I still don't think Milwaukee's very good. I just think Celtics are a better team, but I have zero faith in the Celtics doing anything in the next round.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with the second part, but they're not going to do anything in the second round also because they're not going to be in the second round. No, I mean, the Celtics have a lot going for them, and next year when they have Gordon Hayward back and they have Kyrie Irving back, then, by the way, Utah does not miss Gordon Hayward at all, so not a negative against Gordon Hayward, but like it is interesting how he left Utah. And I guess obviously Donovan Mitchell has been great there. But
yeah,
it's
I mean,
interesting
it's
how
pretty much because Mitchell took his spot, and he's been way better than advertised.
I mean, this has worked out far better for Utah than this is actually the best scenario. The worst, if you had either Utah signing Gordon Hayward to a max deal or getting Donovan Mitchell, getting Donovan Mitchell is a much better scenario for them.
Yeah,
you get a young, controllable player for the next couple of years before you have to pay him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm going to say, Milwaukee. Next series?
Next series is the 76ers versus the Heat.
Okay. I know the Sixers won big in the first game, but they have a roster built on rookies. Rookies don't win in the playoffs. The Heat has a great coach. They have a solid team. They have a pretty decent bench. They shoot a lot of threes. They're going to win some games here. I'm going to say they're going to win this series in 6 games.
Philly has the top 2 players.
No. Embiid is not playing in this series.
Embiid is coming back for game 3. They destroyed the Heat without Embiid, and Embiid's coming back for game 3.
Okay. Well, he's got to wear a mask, so that'll throw off his game. That'll definitely throw off his game. He's going to wear some weird mask.
Simmons is almost averaging a triple-double.
It's been one goddamn game. And Spoelstra is smart. He'll figure out that maybe we should stop Ben Simmons from driving to the basket because he can't shoot anywhere else.
Can't stop him.
Hey, it's only one game.
Mm-hmm.
Spoelstra is a great coach, and he'll figure out a way to stop him. I have a lot of faith in that. That Sixers will fall apart. I mean, Sixers today. It was today or was yesterday? It was the game.
Yesterday.
They relied on a big game from Bellinelli, who's a very good player, but chances are you're not going to get big games from Bellinelli going forward for the playoffs.
So instead of 130 points, they'll score 120.
They'll probably lose. I mean, they counted on the big games for the veterans. I don't think you're necessarily going to get those big games in the veterans later on in the series.
I'll give you credit because I know you don't believe a word you're saying right now, but I'll give you credit for sounding convincing.
Well, I am convincing. I'm right, Jay. I don't know what you're talking about, Jay. You have Philly has been to the playoffs one game. All the guys on the roster have one game of playoff experience, besides the guys that have been to the playoffs before.
Yeah, except for Ilyasova and Bellinelli and JJ Redick.
Either way, a team you built on rookies. Embiid's very good. Obviously, Ben Simmons is very good, and they'll have lots of playoff success in the future. But playoffs are a different animal. I question what will happen later in the series. They had one big blowout. That's great. A lot of times, what happens in game one isn't representative of what happens in the series.
It's true. It might get worse.
Do you remember what was it last year or 2 years ago? San Antonio blew out Golden State in their first game of their playoff series, and Golden State just destroyed them the rest of the series.
Right, but the difference is Golden State was a good team.
Exactly, same exact story here. I mean, the Heat have learned. Listen, this is the team that could not beat the Knicks in the regular season, and they screwed up our playoff position. So obviously, the Heat have learned from that, and now are a better team.
I mean,
they hit rock bottom by losing to the Knicks
with 6 guys injured that day.
Screw you, Heat, for screwing up our. We would have the 8th seed, but we have the 9th seed because the Heat had to not know how to guard Damian Dotson.
You know, the 8th guy in this draft is going to be a world beater.
Of course, it's going to be a Hall of Famer. That's just how it works. And also, the 10th guy in the draft will be a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
What was next series?
I'm saying Philly in 5.
Okay, so you want to be wrong by every series. Go on.
And the last series is the Cavs versus the Pacers.
Ooh, Pacers in 4 games. This will be the biggest embarrassment of LeBron's career, and this will be he will 100% be gone from Cleveland after the series is over. They already got their asses whooped today. Victor Oladipo looks like a star, and Cleveland. LeBron has to look around the roster and go, I have a roster of crap here. There's just no way I can win with this roster. I need to go elsewhere. And he's already thinking about that, getting angrier and angrier. Next game, he's going to try to play 48 minutes and try to get them over the hump against Indiana. But Indiana 4 games, I'm pretty much guaranteed this, Jay.
So I mean, the Cavs still have LeBron.
They still have LeBron. They have nothing else.
They have Kevin Love.
Point,
Kevin Love is a multiple All-Star.
Sure. At some point, LeBron has to falter, and stars like this falter. At some point, their games fall off, and it's going to happen in this series. LeBron is going to have his legacy. This is when his career goes from being amazing to be. He'll still be a very good player, but this will be the turning point in his career.
Bold statement there.
Bold statement. He's losing in 4 games. The media is going to go insane when he gets swept in the series. He's going to lose his mind. He'll sign with someone else and he'll still make the playoffs, but he's done making the finals.
So you're not even making a prediction on the series. You're making a prediction on his entire career.
Yes. His wife will leave him. His kids won't talk to him anymore. It'll be 5 years from now, he will be delivering a pizza to you, Jay.
He's just going to be a wino on the street.
Wino on the street. He's going to lose all his money between now and then. It's going to be the ultimate tragedy. And then they're going to do a Broadway musical about his life. And someone else, he's going to be really mad because he sold away the rights to his life. And some guy's going to make a bunch of money off the musical. And everyone's going to think LeBron's okay, but LeBron's going to be doing crack on the street. That's what's going to happen when he gets loose in the 4 games to Victor Oladipo. And Victor Oladipo will go on to become the guy that most talked about with Michael Jordan about who's better all time. So Indiana in 4. What do you say?
I'm going Cavs in 6.
That's a bold prediction, Jay. It's a bold taking a guy that's been to the NBA Finals 9 times and saying that he could push us to 6 games is a bold prediction.
This is the one I hope I'm really wrong on.
You hope I'm right. You hope I'm kind of close to the truth here.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the end of our predictions. You want to look back at our predictions, our preseason predictions?
Sure. Preseason predictions. A walk down memory lane. So
Was this much better than like doing a regular prediction show?
yeah.
Okay. Or just lie to me. Go on.
So we don't need to go through all of them. We'll look at things we nailed, things we did not. We both picked Boston
Did I?
first.
I think I predicted the Knicks to go 82-0 and win the title. Did I get that right?
You picked the Knicks to. Actually, you picked them 10th. Interesting.
Oh, where did they finish?
11th.
Oh, I was pretty good at this.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
picked them 9th. So yeah, you won that one. The team we were both the most wrong about was the Pacers. You picked them 11th. I picked them 12th.
Yeah. I don't think any of us saw like Oladipo being this good.
No.
Like who's their coach? He should be up there for coach of the year. I don't think he should necessarily win, but he should be a top 3 selection.
Yeah. And we both slept on the Raptors. You had them 3rd. I had them 5th.
Yeah, I mean their bench. I mean again, also coach of this possibly coach of the year there. They really with their bench and everything else. Yeah, they. It'll be interesting to see if they actually can do anything in the playoffs. They didn't look amazing against in the game 1, but like how much of a difference does this bench make in the playoffs?
I mean, I think it's enough because like if you have a weak bench, like as soon as you start, you saw what happened with Westbrook. As soon as he sat, the team got stomped. Like even though it was only 6 minutes or whatever it was, like you need those 6 minutes.
No, you definitely do. I'm just wondering, like the real question is like for the Raptors, it's NBA Finals or bust. Like that for this to be a good year for them. Making the Eastern Conference Finals is not like necessarily a good year for them.
Right.
You've been building this forever. Like you're trying to go to the. I mean, you're obviously trying to win the title, but like going to the finals is really like it can't be a successful season unless you get to the finals.
I feel like it's possible. I mean, the Cavs look really beatable right now.
They look really, really beatable. I have a hard time thinking they're going to actually. Like on the one hand, I want to just say LeBron's probably going to get them to the finals, but like this is as beatable of a year as possible. I feel like if I'm going to say out of the East, and the Celtics obviously look very beatable now also. So this would be the year for Toronto to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Celtics and Cleveland don't make it, who's going to make it? You think Philly's going to make it?
They could. Because, I mean, they're probably going to beat the Heat. Then they have a really banged up Celtics team.
Yeah. No, I mean, they have. You could see them going to the Eastern Conference Finals against.
It would be the Raptors or the Cavs.
Yeah.
And, you know, both of those teams look very beatable. I mean,
I feel like
if Philly jumps from not making the playoffs to making the finals, the Knicks should be forced to tank for the next 4 years.
You'll start trusting the process. Yeah, I just would have yeah, I don't know. This is a really tough one to predict who would actually go to the finals for this group. I mean, I guess I would go with the default option being LeBron making it there, but I don't know. What do you think Indiana, like would Indiana have a shot if they beat Cleveland?
Do I think Indiana has a shot?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think they could beat Cleveland, but then I think they still lose to Raptors.
I feel like once you get Cleveland out of it, like everyone has like a not equal shot, but like anything could happen. I don't think Milwaukee's going to the finals,
East is so wide open. It's such a breath of fresh air.
But then it'll still end up being Cleveland in the finals. But in the West, do you think Golden State's really being like they can really knock? Gold. I think Houston has a very good chance of going to the finals this year.
They do. They do.
But go back to our predictions. What else did we get wrong or right?
All right. So I'll just read them real quick. I picked for East Celtics, Cavs, Wizards, Bucks, Raptors, Heat, Hornets, 76ers.
Okay.
And you picked Celtics, Cavs, Raptors, Wizards, Bucks, Heat, Sixers, Hornets.
Okay.
I mean, not too bad. Nothing too embarrassing there.
Okay.
The West is a little different. I picked Warriors, Thunder, Rockets, Spurs, Wolves, Nuggets, Clippers, Jazz.
Yeah.
That's not very good. And you had Warriors, Spurs, Rockets, Thunder, Clippers, Blazers, Nuggets, Wolves.
Okay. Neither of us were terrible though.
No, I mean, we
And-
both didn't think the Clippers were going to trade Blake and have the rest of their team get injured.
Yeah.
And picking Nuggets to make the 6th or 7th seed isn't that far off. They were like one game out of the 6th or 7th seed.
Yeah, no, they almost made the playoffs, so it's not crazy to pick them.
And neither of us thought Kawhi would just decide to not play any basketball anymore.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I just assumed Kawhi would be back. I think we both thought Houston would be better, but it was hard to say also how Chris Paul would with Harden, how well they would mesh together.
Yeah.
Do you want to make our give your the awards real quick? Like MVP, who do you take for MVP?
I mean, it's going to be Harden.
Yeah, I'm not giving it. It kind of also Westbrook got it last year for the triple double thing. He did it, and he did the triple double thing again. You're like, look, we're gonna give it to you once for that, not twice. Even though it's like if you're giving it to him once, then you almost kind of like, well, should you give it to him again because he did triple double again?
Isn't it crazy that 3 out of the last 4 MVPs would all have played on the same team at one point?
Yeah. Do you think OKC ended up with the worst of the 3?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of looking like that now. I mean, nothing against obviously all 3 of them are like Hall of Famers, but
although let's see how this playoffs plays out because Westbrook performs in the playoffs and Harden usually melts in the playoffs. So
it's true, but I'd rather build my team around Harden than Westbrook, and I'd rather build my team around Durant than Westbrook.
Yeah.
I'm not putting Harden over Durant, but
no, definitely not.
It's amazing the 3 of them are on the same team for like, Though I also wonder if Harden would have become the player he is if he had not left that team.
No, definitely not, because he was in a 6-man role. He wouldn't definitely.
Yeah, and he was very good there, but like I think he needed like to become the alpha dog.
Yeah.
Okay, we both agree on Harden. Rookie of the year.
Simmons.
I always feel like remember the was LeBron and Melo split the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
I always feel like they should do the same thing here. I feel like Donovan Mitchell and Simmons could split the Rookie of the Year.
They could.
I mean, you have
if you have to pick one though, I pick Simmons.
I would take Donovan Mitchell because he's the leading scorer on a playoff team, and Simmons had Embiid there. Like Donovan Mitchell was the man there. I mean, obviously they have like Gobert and they have other players on Utah, but you needed Donovan Mitchell to be the alpha dog on that team, and he took that role. Simmons obviously had a great year for Philly, but him having Embiid there made it like who's more valuable to their team? I think Mitchell was more valuable to their team.
Simmons plays crazy good defense, and he almost averaged a triple-double as a rookie.
Yeah, Mitchell, like the list of players that have led their rookies that have led their teams to the playoffs when they've been leading scorer and average over 20 points a game, the list is insanely short. It's like a couple of great Hall of Famers and Donovan Mitchell. Guys who led. If I said that right. It's
true, but
yeah, I mean they both have had great years. I mean, like it's hard. I'm not like Simmons had a great year. I think either one's Rookie of the Year. I feel like my vote really is to split the Rookie of the Year because they both had such good years. I'm only giving it to really Donovan Mitchell because he was the alpha dog on this team. He was the guy you really needed to like. Everything fell on his shoulders, whereas Embiid like kind of took things off of I don't know, whatever. I mean, they
did win like the last 8 games of the season without Embiid, though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but Utah went on a crazy run with Donovan Mitchell the second half of the year.
Yeah, but they also were terrible when Gobert was injured.
Yeah, but it all came together when Gobert came back.
Right.
I don't know.
So he needed Gobert, just like Simmons needed Embiid.
You've won this round, Jay.
Yes, I won a debate.
Coach of the Year?
There's a lot of candidates for this one.
Yeah, there are a lot of good candidates.
You could go with the coach of the Celtics just because they had to deal with so many injuries. You could go with Jazz. You can go with Spurs for still being good with Kawhi doing whatever the hell his people told him to do.
I want to know what's his name in Toronto. What is his name? I forgot his name.
Yeah, I mean
they did. So, I mean, like he had that bench. It was insanely good, and obviously you have good players, but like getting a bench to play that well is like I think the coach tremendous job. They changed how they were playing offensively overall, shooting a lot more threes. he got the whole team to buy in. So like they were a very good team, and he got them to a next level, at least for the regular season.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you look at their box score, you're not going to recognize almost anybody on that bench. But but they're one of the best benches in the NBA, so that says something.
Yeah, that says a lot. Yeah, so I would go with that. I mean, Dwayne Casey. That's what I was thinking of. I'd go with Casey here, but it's really close. I don't want to give it to D'Antoni only because he won it last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like giving it to the guys 2 years in a row, but it would be a good argument for him. I mean, like he took Chris Paul and James Harden and made the team even better. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it to D'Antoni again.
The Knicks could get a coach like D'Antoni, that would be amazing. Who would you give it to? I think Utah. I mean, that's a huge job there. Like you lost your star player, and like you put your faith in a rookie.
Yeah, that would probably be my pick. I mean, that's impressive. That's
really impressive. Yeah, the Celtics. I feel like they fell off a little bit in the second half.
They did. You know what? I think they were doing fine until Irving went down, and like that was too much for morale. Like they were able to withstand Hayward, and Smart, but then when Irving went down too, everyone was like, eh.
I think they fell off a little bit before then, but yeah. I don't have the records here, but I thought they started playing a little bit like they were not as good as they were earlier in the season.
Right.
But yeah, I mean you can make a strong case there also. This is probably the hardest of all the awards.
Yeah.
Well, Rookie of the Year is a hard one too, I guess. I don't know, any other awards you want to do?
I mean, there's Most Improved.
I mean, Defensive Player of the Year, I would take Gobert.
Yeah.
Most Improved, Victor Oladipo, hands down.
Yeah.
There's no one else. Who else are you going to say besides? Like, Oladipo had such a step up in his game.
I mean, you could say the Greek Freak.
Really? He had a pretty good year last year.
Yeah, but he was insane this year.
I mean, they also weren't that good with him.
I mean,
was he really that insane? Like, the team you were hoping Greek Freak would take the whole team to a next level. They barely were in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of other people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like giving the Most Improved award to a guy who's like a borderline all-star already.
Oladipo was a borderline all-star already?
No. I'm talking about Greek Freak.
Oh, okay.
Oladipo should get it.
Yeah, I think hands down. I mean, like he was in that trade. Like everyone was like, I mean, look at all those trades and how they worked out. Like the Paul George trade, like Indiana could arguably got the better deal.
Right.
In the Butler trade, I feel like Minnesota still got the better deal, but it didn't work out that poorly for Minnesota for Chicago. They got some pieces to work with at least, and marketing looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Knicks Melo trade looks pretty good now that Enes Kanter's going to opt out.
Well, we'll see if we re-sign him.
And no one's upset at all that Melo was gone. So that trade obviously was getting rid of Melo made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to? Should we end the show, Jay? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Okay, what did we learn today?
We learned that the Knicks are going to do something with the coaching that is going to give me more anxiety than usual.
We learned. Oh my God, we didn't do any questions. Holy crap!
We're already really long.
These are all fast questions. You can do real quick.
Okay.
Facebook. Jay writes, "Is Jay a CPA now?"
I took a test. Don't get my grade for 6-7 weeks. So
that was Ralph. Ralph also writes, "Who will replace Horny, and will they have a hot daughter for you guys to ogle? Hopefully." Jajeen writes, "I read the Knicks is getting in touch with Jay Williams for coaching position. What do you guys think of him? Which kind of coach is he? Unfortunately, I do not follow the NCAA. He's a very good coach. His offense is supposed to be the most NBA-like offense in college. He's supposed to be a great coach. Chances of him coming to the Knicks are pretty low." Tristan writes, "What current players will be free agents, and which ones would you want to bring back?" I think we have a lot of time to discuss that. Let's discuss that on another show.
Okay.
Nick writes, "At some point, you should rank the coaches in post-Van Gundy era. Try to determine which one is the ultimate disappointment. I think my vote would be for Larry Brown based on expectations versus results." It's not a bad bit for another show.
Yeah, that's a good question. If you wouldn't mind posting that again next week, I'd like to actually...
Let's do it next week. Yeah,
I want to do some research on that one.
Yeah, Nick, write that again, and we will have a who's who of disappointments. Lee writes, "How movable is Timmy? He isn't terrible, but a lot of money for a guy who went past for third best player on an average team. Should packaging Timmy and Lee be something to explore?" I'd like to point out I know he wouldn't be the third best player on an average team. We are far from being an average team, so that's a big ceiling for us.
Yeah.
Do you think they'd get much for Timmy and Lee together?
I think let's find out.
I don't think you're gonna get a lot for that. I think Timmy is. I don't think he was that bad of a contract. I think he's gonna be a good guy on the team. I understand the gripes with him. I also don't think he's like all that movable either. And like packaging him with Lee is not gonna get you that. That's a lot of money teams gonna have to take on. Bruno writes, "At what value do you think that Cantor should be signed? In an ideal world, we would not sign him at all. Thank you, Bruno. But if he stays long term with a cheap contract, there might be a value in this. I wouldn't mind having him for $7 or $8 million a year, and have him being a backup center, so we have instant offense and rebounding on the second unit. Don't like him as a starter, though."
That's pretty much what I was saying.
Do you think there's any scenario where Cantor comes back and he's not the starter?
No.
How do you don't re-sign a guy and tell him we're signing you to have like a demotion?
Right.
So, Jay, it's like your work being like, "Hey, Jay, congratulations, we're demoting you." Would you be like, "Yeah, sounds good. I'm in for that"? Rich writes, "Will there be a plan before draft night?"
Knowing the Knicks, no.
Gilliam writes, "If Cantor finally opts out, it's fair to assume they have a wink-wink agreement." Might throw up even reading that. "I think he would get something around what Olynyk got, which is $44 million at 4 years. What would you think of such a contract in terms of Cantor's own value and in terms of how it would affect future cap space, tradability? Is that a real word?"
I would think poorly of that.
It destroys our cap space for this offseason. Like, we'd have a lot more cap space this offseason if Cantor's gone. Like if Cantor's gone this offseason, that's if we have like that's $18 million right there to spend.
Yeah.
And in the future, like to sign him into a big deal, then you just limit your cap space in the future.
Yep.
For a guy that can't play defense. And it's also just I'd be so upset if they gave him $44 million for 4 years.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Gilliam writes, "Coaches that have been said. Last question. Have been said Knicks will interview Jay Wright, Stackhouse, Mark Jackson, David Fitzdale, David Blatt. We didn't talk about Blatt, but Mike Woodson, Jeff Van Gundy, Monty Williams, maybe some others I'm forgetting now. Is Monty Williams on the? So they actually are interviewing him.
I didn't even hear that one.
Monty Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was the San Antonio guy.
No.
Who's the San Antonio guy?
It was an M name. I forgot. It wasn't Monty Williams.
Okay. Monty Williams is an American. He's currently the vice president of basketball operations for the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
Okay. Rank them according to your preference. And what is the one thing that makes you hopeful each coach can be a good one, and one thing that makes you scared that he's not? Feel free to add any other coach you would like to this list. I think we already talked about them a little bit as far as positive and negatives. If you want to rank them, I'd rank Jeff Van Gundy first. Who do you rank first?
Probably Fizdale.
Okay. I will take Fitzdale. I like a lot of what I've heard about Fitzdale. I would take him 2. I don't think Jay Wright's coming here, so I guess I would take, if I'm going to take I would take Jay Wright over Fitzdale. I think Jay Wright number 2. I don't think he's coming here, but who do you take 2?
Van Gundy.
Okay, 3 I take Fitzdale. Who do you take 3?
Jay Wright.
Okay. 4 I take Stackhouse, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you got 4?
Yeah, I agree.
5 Blatt.
I want to disagree with you, but I don't think I can with this one.
For number 6, I changed my phone number and don't let Mike Woodson know about the actual interview.
Yeah.
Or Mark Jackson. Either one of them, just those just two sound like the worst ones.
I would take Woodson over Jackson, but
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. But I think either one just sounds that Mike Woodson really would be a retread. He was just here, and we got rid of him because like we had good reasons at the time to get rid of him. Like he's a very unimaginative choice.
yeah.
I would much rather. Why not make him the coach? If you're gonna go for like just a Knick legend name,
Right.
Okay. What did we learn today, Jay? We learned that we almost forgot the questions, and we learned that Jay was wrong on 8 playoff series when we did.
But I think I won my first debate ever later on. So
Yes, it's not often I admit defeat that Jay defeated me. Okay, I think we're done.
all right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We also got another email, but it's another long bit, so I'd rather do that one next week too.
Okay.
So thanks for listening, everybody, and we will be back next week.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye.